Did the animal did it look at you?
There was just a lot of noises, and then I went in, and then after a bit, I heard some buzzing, and I was like, okay, it's probably a bug, but I couldn't see the bug. And then I left, and then I heard it moving around again, and I was like, that doesn't sound like a bug. That's much bigger than a bug.
Oh no.
But yeah, still alive. So we'll see. I think a lot of things live in my attic,
Sure. Yeah.
but I'm not going up there. I'm leaving it. So if they're surviving, they're surviving. That's for them.
We know what goes on in attics
Yeah.
as connoisseurs of horror films.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm gonna leave that.
no, there's ritual up there. Someone's
Mhm.
summoning payment into the body of a new vessel. Like, let's just let it happen.
She
Yeah.
hasn't seen Hereditary. She doesn't
I
know what's going
haven't.
on in the attic.
Well, I know that stuff happens in attics in general. So
That's true.
In that
general
one,
attic
in the
haunting.
one Zoom based one that we watched,
Host.
host had an attic
Yeah, I
issue,
did.
right?
Yeah,
That's what it was
did.
based off of, right? Was it the small one about the attic? The tiny little
Oh yeah, sure.
video about the attic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, Chelsea, before we
Yeah.
even start, I need to ask you because we didn't talk about the total eclipse of your heart that you experienced
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell
It was
us.
amazing. I was shocked at how amazing it was, and yeah, and every time I talk about it, it feels like it just doesn't feel real. Like, because you're doing something counterintuitive. You're staring directly at the sun, and you're like, well,
No,
and
that's
your
the
eyes
one
just
thing you're
don't
not
burn
supposed
out.
to do.
Your eyes just don't burn out, and it just looks crazy. And it's just like, it's like you're experiencing something that you shouldn't experience, and everything's dark, and it just it does feel like as it's getting really dark, it feels like something terrible is happening. And then it happens, and then it's just kind of like beautiful, and yeah, it was just really intense and awesome, and I do recommend it 100%. Nate, have you seen one? Did you see one? Have you seen
I mean the one in 2017 that was a partial in Colorado.
yeah.
I saw that, and that was like three-quarter covered for a split second. And then here it was supposed to be 88% totality.
Yeah.
And I went out there when it was about a third covered and checked it out. And then I stepped back inside, got a little more work
It
done,
was
and then I
gone.
went out again
Yeah.
and cloud cover suddenly. And there were clouds there just for the 15 fucking minutes that it was
Oh, that's
the
what
closest to coverage.
Boo.
And then right when they broke away, it was back to the exact same amount of coverage as I saw last. So it was a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, I mean, the thing that's so cool is it makes sense why so many cultures would assume there's some horrible thing happening,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
this is
Oh,
a-
it's so scary.
this is an omen, a sign, whatever. I mean,
We had a
can-
street lamp, so it looked kind of okay, but it looks like it's nighttime. It just looks like it's nighttime for 3 minutes, and then you're back to normal. Like that, even 1%, like the seconds before totality was fine. It was just maybe mid-afternoon darkness or maybe evening darkness, but that totality was just nothing else I've ever experienced.
yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah. So I recommend. And we didn't run into traffic, so
And no one around you got raptured, to your knowledge.
uh, there were a couple people I didn't see later, so
Great. Yeah. You know, couple of polo shirts that just happen to be laying on the ground with pants and shoes and socks. Like, wait a minute. Yeah, it's great. It's great that we're simultaneously very scientifically inquisitive and also the weirdest kind of superstitious still when we could be the fun
yeah.
kind in the middle. But it's
Mhm.
this is science. Nope, God's gonna fuck us. Get out of here. Well,
Yeah.
or save us. Maybe I think
Oh,
fuck us in
okay.
a positive
Because
way,
we're on
right?
the other. Oh, okay.
Because I mean, rapture is a word that is inherently kind of sensual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rapture.
Oh,
That's
To
true.
take you
I
up
guess
into
it
his
is, yeah.
big buff arms.
I really
Aw.
thought you were gonna say bosom. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be bosom, and then you said buff arms, and I was like, wrestling? Are we talking about
Yeah.
is John Cena gonna finally
Oh.
pick me up? Is that what you're saying?
You know what? Ahoy, listeners. This is Debut Buddies. It's a fortnightly podcast about firsts, and I'm here to tell you we are the best in the world at what we do, and what you gonna do when the Debut Buddies Mania runs wild on you. I'll tell you what, this episode is one hell of a slobberknocker, and those three catchphrases from wrestling history come from Jericho, Hulk Hogan, and the announcer Jim Ross, respectively, because we're talking about the first pro wrestling match.
Woohoo!
Yay.
I need what? Can we go back to slobberknocker just real quick?
Yeah.
Gross.
Apparently, Jim Ross said
Gross.
this match is one hell of a slobberknocker.
What that mean?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
You'd slobber and knock.
When he say that?
Was there a female in it?
you gotta figure somebody's knocking, somebody's slobbering, and we're just it's a slobber knocker.
Cute.
No.
Yeah. There's nothing. I don't think there's really anything to analyze here. I think we should just move right along.
All right.
Because I'm Nate and I'm one of the buddies.
And I'm Kelly. I'm an additional buddy.
I'm Chelsea. I'm the other buddy.
And we're too friendly to be wrestlers.
It's true. It's true. We wrestle with our own personal vices,
Oh, God. Too real. Too real.
but not with other people, generally speaking.
Our stage name, though, if we fought as the three of us, like as a triple tag team,
Yeah.
we'd be the Debs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That'd
we
be
would so
cute.
be the Debs.
God.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think.
What
feel
are
like we
y'all
should
doing
have a
this
chant.
weekend?
And we'd be so good at it because we're already like, we're doing bits. And
Yep.
that's
Mhm.
exactly the
That's
kind
like
of thing
80%
that,
of it.
yeah, you got to be in there. Somebody's got to be like leaning, like, Kelly's chatting up the one of the people next to the ring while
Yeah.
Chelsea's spinning somebody over her
Mhm,
head.
mhm.
And I'm like pulling on somebody's leg or crying, whatever has to be done to distract the referee.
That does sound right, though.
It
I
does.
think personas.
I think I assigned every role exactly the way it should have been.
Yeah.
And I will accept no notes.
No, this is one of those ideas that comes out fully formed.
Yep.
It writes itself.
Let's talk about the first pro wrestling match. I have a lot of information, so I wanted to start. Let's just start with the basics. Like, what about wrestling? Where are you when it comes to wrestling? How much wrestling have you watched? How much wrestling do you care about? Do you care about wrestling?
Chelsea, do you want to go first or should I take?
Mine might be kind of lengthy. So
So will mine be.
Ooh,
So go
interesting.
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So starting from a young age, probably around the age of 3, I would say, I saw my first match. No, I'm just kidding.
You had me.
Oh, that's a lie, though.
Yeah.
I did watch pro wrestling when I was a kid, the WWF, and it wasn't WCW, it wasn't WWE yet.
Yeah, it
still
was
F when we were
WWE
kids,
in
right?
like the late 90s, right? When the World Wildlife Federation finally sued them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Uh-huh.
So I watched then, and I remember wrestling with my brother, but not in a weird way. But he would like, but we like, he would practice the moves to try to like drop somebody on their head. How did I survive as a child? Because you're more pliable,
You're
I
so
guess, and your
flexible.
body doesn't
Yeah.
do bad things. But I just remember that and then watching that a bunch when I was a kid. But I always loved, our first dog was named Sting after the wrestler.
Sure.
And also Sting was my favorite. I love the Crow, so all of that checks out and it makes sense in how my life went.
Is Sting in The Crow?
Sting is originally his outfit was based on like America. He was a very American one. And then somebody was like, you should watch The Crow. And then his entire outfit and his entire persona became The Crow. So
cool. Co-sign
yeah.
then. He's my
so and
favorite too.
I think I watched wrestling and I was a fan of Sting prior to watching The Crow. And that makes sense that I was just like, yeah, that guy's outfit, bomb. And then I watched The Crow and I was like, best movie ever. So that all ties together in my brain. And we named our first dog Sting because my brother was like, he has face paint. And I was like, he has spots on his face, but that's fine. It was like a beige dog. I don't know why we decided that. And then I grew up and I stopped watching it for a while. I didn't want to be like, I picked it up again, but I did pick up the reality series around it. And I watched the shit out of those. I watched Total Divas, Total Bellas for a bit, and then I think that they had one other spinoff that I started to watch, but I did not like it. But I got really obsessed with that for a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I should watch more wrestling. And I was like, nope, I just like the drama behind the scenes. But I really appreciate the like athleticism and the art that they do because a lot of their and like it takes a lot. It's just that you wouldn't expect from a person to athletically do it. And also I think sometimes not hurting people is harder than hurting people.
That's
especially when
a heavy
throwing
thesis.
people around a ring. You know?
That's just in general.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, it is.
No, that's like that's a thing to live by right there. Sometimes it's harder to not hurt people.
Whoa. See, and this is exactly why when the Debs are fighting, Chelsea's the only one of us getting anything done.
Yeah.
Nate and I are just giving them the old razzle dazzle, and Chelsea is functionally succeeding. Yeah, I didn't watch wrestling as a kid at all. One of my brothers was obsessed with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that was very annoying. But later in life, how did this even happen? How did I get into it? Honestly, comedy was the gateway drug. So a lot of wrestlers, I mean, a lot of professional wrestlers where it is a lot of razzle dazzle and persona and posturing and like performance art, not just, fighting. A lot of them have crossover into comedy, stand-up comedians. So I think that that's actually how it like landed on my radar was comedians who host podcasts that I listen to would have guests who are professional, and they were very funny, and I thought very smart about what it means to persona. That was always very me. And then in Denver, there is a show called Lucha Libre and Laughs, and it fucking whips, dudes. So if you're in the Denver area, highly recommend going to see this show. It is stand-up comedy and Lucha Libre wrestling together. And so in between matches, there is a the host is the worst part. He's playing like a scummy wrestling promoter type, and he does it so well because I hate him. And I don't mean that I enjoy hating him. I mean every time he's on stage I'm like, bleh, like he's the heel for me. then it's commentated by comedians. It's so good. And then there was a period of time where I was challenging people to list wrestlers when we were out at bars drinking.
Oh.
Just like, how many can you name? I bet I can do more.
Oh.
I won a lot of the time.
Nice.
But I don't know any of those people as wrestlers. I just know their names from like
Smart.
Oh, and the Mountain Goats have a great album that is a concept about wrestling. There's one song on there that's based on a true story. I think they're all based on a true story, but it's about a wrestler whose name I don't recall. But wrestlers die really young compared to the of
often. Yeah.
Often. Yeah. And in one of the songs that makes me cry, it's about a wrestler who gets an injury and can't wrestle anymore, and so he's and then he just slowly deteriorates before passing away. But the song is like he's just trucking along in his life and he's still content. So I don't know, bunch of sad stories coming out that I'm also What about you, Nate? What's your reverie?
So the weird thing for me is almost zero. Like other than the fact other than the fact
that's
that like
impossible.
It was a huge phenomenon during the 80s and early 90s, especially when I was a kid. Like, so wrestling was all around me all the time. Like I had a Macho Man, like one of those pillows. Do you remember like the pillow buddy wrestler things? where I had a Macho Man and I had a Hulk Hogan. And, you know, you would just, as a kid, like, you would jump and, like, body slam the pillow
Oh,
into
that's
the bed
fun.
and stuff. And, like, I'm an only child. So I'm just like, that's what I'm doing. Like, that's several hours of a weekend afternoon is just like, rah! And then I'm going to spin around and pile drive this dude or whatever. Um, Phrasing. But, uh, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really watch it. And
Mm.
for the most part, and I don't know, I'm not gonna say that I 100% remember this correctly, but I feel like my mom really wasn't super into it as a thing because it was violent,
Oh,
and
yeah.
kind of like all these things that she didn't really agree with. It was kind of gross and it was sort of anti-feminist and all these things.
Yeah,
So,
oh, yeah.
so I didn't really ever get to watch it when I would have been young enough to form a real like
Mm.
admiration. And then when the
Mhm.
point came that it was like, oh, well, you could turn on UPN or whatever the channel was that was carrying wrestling at the time, it was one of those things that you'd like scroll through and I might stop for a couple minutes, but be like, that's fake. And I just keep going and find like quote unquote real sports. So it really wasn't until the last maybe 10 years that I've gained any appreciation for it. And I don't really watch it that much. I mean, I think last last year was the first maybe WrestleMania that I'd ever seen because my buddies
Mm.
who live in Baltimore invited me down for it. And so I drove down and just hung out and like, you know, drank a few beers and watched WrestleMania. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And it's like it
Sounds
just
great.
keeps going, right? Like it's just
Mhm.
it's this absurd spectacle. It's really cool. I mean, the amount of actual like orchestration required is impressive. So yeah, I don't have anything other than like I know a lot of the like wrestlers who became actors and switched back and forth, and
Mhm.
like there's
Yeah.
so much pop culture cachet from that 80s era, especially of WWF, that you know uh that all contribute. But yeah, I was never like a big wrestling fan, and I wouldn't dare claim that now either. Like I know
Mhm.
names of some people, but
Yeah.
I don't. But it's like it's kind of like the comic book thing where
Mm.
to kind of Kelly's questions when we did the comic book episode with Mike Gravano, like where do you start? Like
Oh,
some of the storylines on these things are so deep and long, and it's like, well, this
yeah.
family of wrestlers have been training for the last 40 years, and this guy's
Chavo
finally rise to
Guerrero.
And
this.
everyone's like kids go into it. It's like a
Yeah,
family business, but it's
yeah,
like watching a soap opera that's on for like a million seasons, and you're like, what? Well, I'm just gonna pick up mid-season and hope I can
Yeah.
understand what's going on.
yeah. And that's the thing that I don't think I ever really appreciated or understood was the amount of like
Yeah.
the fictional world within it as part of the kayfabe, and the whole thing being this like, hey, look, it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, these people are like entering and exiting relationships and having bonds, and then those things break and there's a grudge, and then now it's like a grudge match is actually because these two guys were friends like a year ago and now they're mortal
Hmm.
enemies. And so yeah, and to your point, like someone like Sting who changes from kind of an all-American branding to
Hmm.
now I'm like hot goth revenge boy,
Yeah.
which
We love a heel
this is Chelsea's type.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hot goth revenge boy.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
Listeners, if you want to email pictures as hot goth revenge
She's
boys,
I
taken,
am
but
kind of
I'll take you.
you're not. You can
Kelly will take
look.
it.
You can look. I'm just soliciting photographs from proven adults.
Strangers, I'm okay. I
No
don't need
No,
wieners.
I
that.
know. No, no, we don't need any of that. Yeah, yeah.
Feet, though. No, I'm just kidding.
especially if
Please
they,
don't. For the
especially if the feet are painted with a combination of black and white paint and lots of sharp edges.
oh
Well, now
gosh.
I'm interested again.
Yeah, yeah. See, now we're doing it. Now we're doing a thing.
Not in a sexual way, but in a, I guess,
No.
arts and crafts way.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. You're just inquiring minds need to know.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just a curious little cat.
Uh,
So do either of you watch wrestling now? It sounds like Nate, no. You did to the WrestleMania party.
I got enough
Or-
context that it wasn't even WrestleMania, actually. It was the Royal Rumble is what it was, because it was the
Mm,
one where
mhm.
it's just this ongoing thing where everybody gets in the ring, and eventually at certain points there's like 10 people in
Yeah.
there.
Oh, that
And-
sounds fun.
And it's like somebody, I mean, and it kind of is, because it's like you get these somebody like comes down this long like runway or what, I don't even know what they call the thing that they walk down, but they come down, they do their
Catwalk.
long intro, on the catwalk, like they're really doing like a whole thing. And you watch some of these people, like they get chatted up, they're like doing all their like, I'm gonna go fuck things up, and they get in there and immediately just get thrown right out, and it's like, well, that's over, and you get to, like, it's just funny because there's a lot of like quality storytelling, comedic timing involved in this, so it's fun.
Have either of you seen wrestling in person?
No.
I
hear it's great.
It's
from you.
So fucking fun, dude. Like,
I believe it.
First reason, the reason I went to the show in Denver in the first place was because I was a fan of the comedians who are the announcers, and within, I don't know, 30 seconds, I had favorites. I had people that I wanted to lose with everything in me. I'm like screaming. I'm losing my mind. I'm there with a friend who is not feeling it the same way that I was.
Oh.
And I'm like, we got seats up in the balcony to be sort of far away. And I'm like yelling, and he's like leaned back in his chair, like, I'm going to go get another beer. And I'm like, okay, I'll tell you what happens. And he's like, I don't care what happens. But I highly recommend going. It is so fun. It's like being in a like Irish bar during the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
The energy, everybody is so excited except for the one I was with.
Which, I mean, that's kind of a way that any sporting event can go.
I guess so.
It's good to have one person with you that doesn't like it, because then they can go get your drink and you don't have to miss anything.
You're so right. So right.
Yeah. So there are positives to it, you know.
Do you want to talk about this first pro wrestling match? Do we have vibes? Do we have feelings
about which one it is? Or
well,
here's how late?
I think we have a real problem with, it's going to be hard to pinpoint the first one.
Yeah.
So what I have is some information on a few things that were kind of origin/early things, and then one that I think could qualify as the first pro wrestling match as we know it.
Oh, fun. Okay. I have a couple things, but I'm just going to see if they overlap. And then they probably won't, and they won't make any sense. I question whether or not they're valid. I don't know. Oh, I didn't get my sources. It's fine. I will send you the link to one of them, and you can post it in the show notes.
Look, people are smart. They're going to be able to Google stuff too. It's all good. Listeners, you're not stupider than a monkey, are you?
Smarter than me. So
you remember 10 digits.
What?
That's
like in the memory?
Yeah. The episode of The Simpsons where they get they split Springfield into 2 area codes, and everybody gets mad because now their phone numbers are 3 digits longer. And the advertising campaign they have is like, even a monkey can memorize 10 digits. You're not stupider than a monkey, are you? It's like, sticks with you. So here's what I've got. The earliest thing that I was able to find was a video featuring Gustav Fristensky and Josef Smejkal. Yes, from 1913.
Yeah, I got that too.
Watch this dope video on YouTube. You can find it very easily if you Google it. I'll drop links in the show notes as well. But this is really more of a classical wrestling thing. Like it's Greco-Roman, right? They're mostly in holds. There's not the kind of freewheeling style that we see later on. It's very classic, and all the onlookers are well dressed, and they're wearing those straw boater hats, like the guy from Music Man wears.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And yeah, the video doesn't feature a lot of action. It's mostly them like standing still, kind of hugging until one of the guys gets the other guy down on the ground, and then that's it.
Wait, and is there a ref?
Yeah, there is a referee to call.
Is it in a ring?
Pin. It is in a ring, yes.
Okay. Now, why is the ring square?
That's a good question.
Well, contrary to popular belief, even though the wheel was invented well before everything else, we couldn't figure out how to make round other things until somewhere around the 1940s.
Nate?
Yes.
What?
Just nothing round until 1945.
Not one.
Yeah, that's right.
Had to defeat the Nazis first.
That was why in the 1950s and 60s, like Ovaltine was a big thing because people were like, man, we just got circles and now you're giving us ovals? Shit. NASA.
Mid-century modern design is a lot of curves. You're right. It's all adding up. It's all adding up.
So question, I did find a recording of a video. Don't know how accurate it was. Somebody posted it, but it was an 1895 video of two wrestlers, and it was Grainer and Shadow. Like, so they went by a pro wrestling name as well.
Ooh.
And I will drop the link. I will text it to you guys because it is on my phone. Somebody in the comments was like, oh, this was like a year before the Lumiere brothers had their first commercial screening. And I was like, it's bonkers if the first or early videos, people are like, I want to watch people wrestle. And it looks like pro wrestling. It looks like fake wrestling. And I was like, impressed. Very impressed.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I want to check that out too. We'll drop that in the show notes. I'm going to watch it after we do this show.
Yeah, me too.
Because some of the origins of pro wrestling as we know it, I found. So we do start in the late 1800s. There are wrestlers like Herculean Flower, Edward the Steel Eater, Gustave d'Avignon, the Bone Wrecker, and Bonnet the Ox of the Low Alps, among others who are Western European wrestlers. And they're touring as carnival attractions. This is a thing that's going on in the late 1800s. Mm-hmm. And this becomes so popular that this shit starts blowing up in the US too. They basically are just showcasing feats of strength. They are occasionally inviting onlookers in to try to, hey, pay and take a shot at beating me, basically like the old mallet thing at the carnival, right? Like, give me $5 and if you can smash and ring the bell, you get a giant teddy bear or, whatever, a cure for cholera, probably.
Which is so, God, can you imagine? So first of all, the Civil War in America has just happened.
Yeah.
Now you're at the circus watching like a strongman show. Mm-hmm. And in between strongmen flexors, we're seeing a variety act of wrestlers. And they're like, come fight me. And you're like, I just killed my brother in a civil war. You remember brothers killing brothers. And now I'm supposed to wrestle this guy for 10 minutes? Like, what? This must have been an insane period of time.
Keep in mind, there's no Instagram back then. So what are you going to do?
Instagram. Yeah.
You're gonna kill your siblings. And you're gonna go wrestle a stranger. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah,
wrestling at the carnival.
Plus, the carnival comes to town like maybe twice a year, and it's probably the like key event other than church that you have in your entire life that is like an experience of joy.
Yeah.
Oh God! Interestingly, sometimes both intense.
Yeah.
I also thought that this was really interesting. I don't know, seeing that it was sort of born out of the circus was like, oh, of course. Like, I guess I'd never really thought about it, but if you'd asked me, I probably would have been like, yeah, I don't know. I guess like boxers took it to the next level. No, of course it was the circus.
Yeah. Because what they discover. So here's where the fun begins, is that they're doing these strongman contests, and then at a certain point, the promoters for these things start putting plants in the audience and choreographing matches so that a particular wrestler appears to be very easy to defeat. And then you have an audience plant. So this audience plant goes in, whoops the shit out of the guy. And then this other person's like, if Stan can beat him, surely I can beat him. I'll put down $7, which is my entire life savings.
Oh,
and then they go into the ring and get the shit kicked out of them because it was all a gag.
Oh my God.
And it's just a good way to make a lot of money. And so this like sort of hoaxy style where, again, it's not Greco-Roman wrestling because it isn't specific rules. Like Greco-Roman wrestling, you can't grab anybody like below the shoulders, I think. Like there's no like bear hugging, there's no leg stuff, there's nothing like that. Like it's literally like we use our arms against each other's arms to try to push somebody down the end.
Yeah.
So the new kind of wrestling is called catch as catch can. So basically it just allows all these different kind of grapples. You can grab a guy by the ass if you want to now, because it's just part of getting him on the ground.
No,
And
that was a different type of show. That was a different show.
Yeah.
well, I mean, look, there's a daytime show and there's a nighttime show, and they're still the same show.
We've got matinee and evening.
But so this catch wrestling starts becoming more and more choreographed because it's making them a lot of money, right? People are excited to see their neighbors get beat by people after it appears that they shouldn't have that problem. And it all sort of becomes this entertainment thing that they start branding as professional wrestling.
So fun.
So then 1905 is the first World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. So that's the first time that we have a recognized professional wrestling championship ever. And it's also the first time that there is a championship belt. It's the first time that, like, a belt is presented as, this is the thing that a person wins when they're the best. It's 1905. Have a big belt.
Commit to the camp. Thank God there's a belt.
We're doing the belt thing now, right away.
Still today, you're belting it.
Oh my God, I just had a visceral memory of a guy I went to, I guess, high school with, and it played Yu-Gi-Oh at lunch, and he would challenge people in the cafeteria to play Yu-Gi-Oh against him.
Great.
And he had like a wrestling belt, and and you could win the Yu-Gi-Oh championship wrestling belt.
All right.
Also,
did anybody beat him?
Sometimes, but he always got it back. He has started taking professional wrestling classes. I just remember seeing that on Facebook. Good for him.
Good for him.
Great.
Yeah.
It's in the blood. I love it. Just Yu-Gi-Oh's like a card game, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? It's not the type of card game where somebody, like, was he challenging other people who already play Yu-Gi-Oh and had their own decks?
That's
or is
a
this
good
a thing where he
question.
was just like, I've got
okay.
a deck and you can play me?
Well, I think it was both. I think that
would
if
he let
you were
people borrow
interested-
some cards?
Yeah, I think that
Ooh.
I think it's one of those games where you have like different types of decks for like classes and that you could grab and play against him. But what I remember is people.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So with this first championship, George Hackenschmidt wins the first ever heavyweight world wrestling championship by defeating Tom Jenkins in New York City. So this is
Was
1905.
Hackenschmidt his real name?
Apparently, yeah. I couldn't find anything to say that his name wasn't George Hackenschmidt.
So no one had fun names for that one? That's a bummer.
Yeah, no.
No Herculean flowers?
Yeah, Hackenschmidt kind of has this interesting background because he's born in Russia, but he's raised in the UK. So he is seen as this sort of like international emblem of strength outside the US. So when he beats Tom Jenkins, the American, it just elevates his mythos.
Okay.
So everything is like building, and then around 1915, we get into a little bit of trouble. Go ahead, Kelly.
Sorry. For the listener, I raised my hand. Hackenschmidt, there's more to him that's, I think, very interesting, which is, well, a couple things. He was getting like too in the UK and winning too much. No one could beat him.
Ooh.
And that was like losing audience interest because you get the same outcome every time. And so his promoter, something Cochran, was like, hear me out. What if we stop playing for sport and we start playing for showmanship? He was like, let's do the old razzle dazzle.
Oh.
Razzle dazzle him. And like sort of pivoted to performing instead of fighting.
Nice.
And then also he ended up coming to the US, and that sort of like ended some of the fame and popularity around wrestling in the UK.
Yep. I'm getting to that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
So part of the Hackenschmidt thing. So Hackenschmidt is dominant in 1905. In the window in between, a wrestler named Martin Farmer Burns and his pupil Frank Gotch rise up, and they are dominating U.S. wrestling. Gotch ends up becoming the world champion by beating Hackenschmidt in 2 matches in 1908 and 1911. And these 2 matches are seen by historians as the most significant in all of pro wrestling history. Okay.
Yeah.
So I am positing that the second of those matches is the first pro wrestling match. This is my reasoning, but I'm going to get to that in a second. So the first match in 1908, the build up is very pro wrestling. Like, this is all starting to become what we like. Gotch is going out and making public challenges to Hackenschmidt. Hackenschmidt is in the UK. Gotch is in the US. Gotch is like, you won't fight me. Come over here and fight me. You have to do it. You can't beat me, and you're afraid. Yes, Chelsea. Also hand raising.
Those the public challenges like writing it in a paper? Or
Yeah,
like how do they get
I assume it's
Skywriters.
like maybe the radio. It could also just be
radio.
like
Yeah.
over the wire. Like maybe we're telegraphing those challenges. I don't know. But yeah.
Singing telegrams.
Probably a newspaper thing too, right? Like, it's just, like extra, the sports page says Gotch challenges Hackenschmidt, and then Hackenschmidt sees that because it, of course, gets across the
picked
pond.
up somewhere. Yeah.
Hackenschmidt says Gotch is a yellow-bellied liver, whatever. How do they talk?
I mean, I wouldn't like anybody to call me a yellow-bellied liver, whatever.
No, it's mean. It's rude.
It is. It's very rude. So Gotch just keeps issuing these challenges, but Hackenschmidt, to his credit, doesn't take the bait. He's just like, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to fight you. I'm enjoying hanging out. He's basically in his, like, I'm doing little performances here and there in the UK, but I'm generally just chilling on the fact that I'm the champ.
Yeah.
And then Gotch basically, like, heckles him a shitload and finally caves because the promoter of the next event, whose name is Jack Curley, goes to Hackenschmidt and says, look, I'm going to give you $10,000. Come over and do this. Now, it's 1908, so $10,000 is an exorbitant amount of money.
Wow,
He's like, here.
How he get that money? Was wrestling really that lucrative?
They figured that it was going to be a huge deal. So
Bank.
So they do their first match at 1908 in Dexter Park Pavilion in Chicago. And Gotch immediately pulls some dirty shit. So we're seeing, again, more pro wrestling stuff. He is distracting the referee. He is throwing dirt. He attempts to gouge Hackenschmidt's eyes. He's doing everything in his power to win this match. They wrestle in 1908 for 1.5 hours.
Oh,
Oh no, thank you. Oh, I'm so tired. Sorry, that just made me tired.
What were people doing?
I have
What
to go
was
take
the
a nap.
audience doing by the end?
I think they were probably all in awe that they had never seen anything go as fast as that before, because it was 1908 and everything was slow. Like, oh my God, this is the fastest, most riveting match I've ever seen. 1.5 hours.
You
The
don't
crops
think that they
don't
were
grow
like
this fast.
on their Morse code transmitters talking to their friends?
Yeah. Everybody's just tapping.
This is
You
so
seeing this
long.
shit? Ugh.
So after 1.5 hours, Hackenschmidt goes to Gotch and says, look, let's just do a draw. We're both tired. This is never going to end. Let's just step away. Gotch bats his hand away. He says, fuck no, I'm not. No draw. They go for 30 more minutes. So we now have a 2-hour-long match. And Hackenschmidt finally just says, look, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Gotch beat me, and I have to admit it. That's his quote. But then, here's where we get even more pro wrestling. This is why I think this is the first pro wrestling match. Shortly thereafter, in like 1909, Hackenschmidt pulls a Donald Trump. And he's like, I didn't lose. That match was rigged. Gotch was oiled. His body was oiled to the point that he was a, quote, well-buttered eel.
Yellow-bellied buttered eel.
Yeah. Is that his new wrestling name? Butter Eel?
Well-buttered eel.
What is his outfit like?
just
A
There is
yellow
no
eel?
outfit. There's just no outfit.
Totally nude. It's just canola oil.
Yeah.
Oh, 1909. It would have been lard. Sorry, go
Ugh.
on.
Yeah. He's just like, this guy cheated. He cheated. I couldn't get a hold of him. You couldn't get a grip on him. There's no way to wrestle him. Like, he
Plus
made it
he's-
impossible to win.
Poking his fingers in my eyes. That's
Yeah.
not cool.
Also bad, yeah. So this prompts Jack Curley, the promoter again, to set up a rematch. So they do a rematch in 1911, and they do it at Comiskey Park in Chicago, which is the park that, like, the disco demolition night happened at Comiskey Park. The White Sox used to play there. Like, it was a major Southside Chicago venue.
Cool.
They have this event, and the Chicago Tribune says that the match, quote, resembles the match in Homer's Iliad.
Whoa.
Right? Lofty.
Wow.
Lofty words.
That's good for them.
Yeah. This is Achilles v. Hector level shit that we're about to
Yeah.
see. It's
Good
coming
Lord.
down.
And that's also such inflammatory language.
Oh yeah.
Like aligning them with, legends essentially.
Aligning them with legends, and also aligning them with a legend that is based almost entirely on, like, the conflict of xenophobia. Like,
Mm.
Oh god.
these people are from another place and we have to destroy them.
This guy has an accent.
So they sell 30,000 tickets.
Holy shit.
This becomes the most, like, important and most well-attended American sporting event of that era.
Nice.
Everybody is at this fucking wrestling match in 1911.
That's amazing.
Well, you're gonna get your money's worth, like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like,
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of covers what
Yeah.
Curly's doing. If they're selling tickets for $1.50, maybe, I don't even know. I don't know what
I
they're
don't know.
selling it for in 1911. But if you're selling them for $1, you made 3 times the 10K you offered
Yeah.
Hack in the first
Yeah.
place, and you didn't have to pay Hack because he quit, right?
Mm.
So so here's the thing. So Curly convinces Hackenschmidt to go on this US tour. Basically, they're gonna ramp this up. They want this to be the most, like, built up conflict possible. So Hackenschmidt travels by train and, I guess, probably car, maybe, or horse-drawn carriage. 1911 is kind of a weird spot. He's cruising around, and he's just stopping in towns, doing these feats of strength, flexing, getting people prepped to, like, hey, look, I'm gonna beat up your boy Gotch. I'm gonna get Gotch. Gotch gonna get got. He's saying a lot of stuff.
Headline. That's a headline.
Gotch to get got. Says Hack.
Says Hackenschmidt.
But the thing is Hack gets injured during this tour, and I couldn't find what happened. But somehow he had an injury that made it pretty much impossible for him to actually fight in the match.
Allegedly.
Oh,
Allegedly. So the legend goes that Jack Curley, the promoter, convinces Hackenschmidt to fight, even though he knows that there's no way he could win. Like, he can't do it. And so, in retrospect, most historians of wrestling believe that this was a work where
Yeah.
Hack and Gotch talked to each other about how the match was going to go, what was going to happen, and it was all planned out in advance.
yeah.
Yep.
So Curly ultimately wanted and believed that Gotch would win, but that Hack would make him look good because he would look really great if he beat, like, the strongest guy, the reigning champion. If he beat the reigning champion, but also that Hackenschmidt was going to, like, they worked it out. They were gonna do a performance that would be convincing, and Hackenschmidt would make Gotch look like a pro.
Yeah.
So all of this stuff seems to be going to plan, right? Seems totally fine. What could go wrong?
Uh-oh.
Gotch comes out swinging completely differently than they planned.
No.
Gotch doesn't play along. He's, like, flying around the ring. He's doing goofy shit. He's just being obnoxious. He is
playing
trying to make a
dirty
fool out of
again.
Hackenschmidt.
Ugh.
So as Gotch has knocked Hackenschmidt down once or twice, it's either the second or third time that he's going to get knocked down, that a spectator in the crowd overhears Hackenschmidt turn to the referee and say, I'm going to flop on this one. Like, I'm going down. He's going to take me down on this next hit. Because that's it, right? They overhear this. They get pissed. People start screaming rigged. They start booing. They're disappointed because the match is extremely boring. It's not like because Gotch isn't doing what he's supposed to. So they're not putting on a convincing performance where they look like they're wrestling. It just appears like Gotch is running around like a fool, kicking the crap out of this guy who just decides to flop after a couple of minutes.
And they just paid a whole $1 to get in here.
They paid like probably what, like 2-3 weeks salary to go to this thing?
It was probably a bunch, yeah.
It was a lot of money. So this singular match nearly destroys the sport. Gotch ends up winning, but it's a Pyrrhic victory because wrestling now is no longer considered even vaguely legitimate in the eyes of anybody in the American public.
Right. It is funny that comes up basically each time wrestling has a resurgence where somebody starts screaming, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. And the people, there's always the contingency of people, except for, I guess, in this first instance, who are like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I know it's fake. Shut up.
It's fun.
That's what we did.
I'm here for the drama, man.
Honestly,
watch it.
If they were actually hurting each other, I wouldn't enjoy this.
Yeah.
I love that we're playing pretend.
Yeah.
God, that's amazing.
So I think that's the first one. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that's the first pro wrestling match because it is very much the moment where it's clearly orchestrated to be completely fake, and it becomes, the crowd becomes aware of it, right? Like it's not a carnival grift anymore because the carnival level grift stuff was working because people didn't catch on. This, everybody catches on and suddenly everybody questions it. So wrestling effectively almost goes completely away until the 1920s. You get Ed Lewis, Billy Sandow, and Toots Mondt, and they form a promotional wrestling team called the Gold Dust Trio.
Which I love.
They make a shitload of money. They start just doing timed matches. So there's no more 2-hour long thing.
God.
It's like you guys are doing this for 5 minutes. That's it. They start doing all the kinds of flashy new holds, and they have wrestlers come up with signature maneuvers, right? So it's like, I'm going to do the flying bullet or whatever.
Yeah.
They also popularized tag team wrestling.
Oh, fun.
As well as paying their wrestlers.
Correct. Yeah. As well as paying the wrestlers. This American invention then hops across the pond, and now the Brits are doing it as well. So you get Sir Athol Oakley and Henry Erslinger launch a promotion, and they call it All In Wrestling in the UK. And this creates this big boom where they don't, the first AI. There becomes so much demand for amateur wrestlers that they don't have enough people. And so they end up kind of adding in circumstances where not athletic people can also wrestle professionally by including weapons and chair shots and other things like that. So basically they're just making it like, how can we incorporate other aspects of this performance so that, we can have 4 beef boys. We don't have any more beef boys. We need this skinny guy to be able to swing a chair at somebody and make it convincing.
They're like, you know what we should do? Jump the shark.
Yeah. Jump right over it. So and then in the 1930s, London County bans wrestling. Then World War II happens.
Oh.
And then we have the other cool thing I found, which was some newsreel footage. This is from Wikipedia, but there's newsreel footage of a professional match between Man Mountain Dean and Jumpin' Joe Savoldi.
No.
From 1934 in Los Angeles. And I will drop the link in the show notes for this as well. But it looks very much like present day wrestling. Jumpin' Joe Savoldi is doing a lot of like flying leg kicks, like just fully up, kicking the guy in the face. The announcer is doing it too. So the newsreel announcer at one point says, quote, "Hey, come back. The fight's still on," when Savoldi kicks Mountain Man Dean out of the ring. And then when Mountain Man Dean bops Savoldi on the head and pins him, the announcer says, "Boosh! Now you know what a ton of bricks feels like, Joe."
We're just doing the Three Stooges up here.
But yeah, the bulk of my stuff about the Gotch and Hackenschmidt match came from a really cool video by Our Fake History. So they did like a little longer summary of that, and then I looked up some other stuff, Wikipedia, etc. But yeah, that is my humble submission.
I
I can't argue with
concede
that.
to your submission.
Well, I think we all agree.
I have been doing some more reading about the Gold Dust Trio because I did not realize about that match with Gotch and Hackenschmidt how big it was. Like, I read that it was considered, one of the most important, or I guess the most important. But earlier I said I was a curious little cat, but I guess not, because I just let that slide right on by without digging any further. But the Gold Dust Trio was where I was leaning, not a specific match, just their era of wrestling, because it did change so much of what it looks like to be professional wrestlers. Like, they're the ones who previously wrestlers would have their booker or their promoter, but this was the first time that there was like a centralized promotion, and so they would hire specific wrestlers and have them on staff for sometimes years instead of just scheduling matches based on who was available or coming through town.
Yeah, they started doing contracting and stuff as opposed to
nice.
as opposed to just kind of like putting a sign-up sheet at the open mic for wrestling and whoever comes.
And they like easily built credibility. We talked about it earlier as sort of a bit, but they built credibility amongst wrestlers because they did actually pay on time. And the wrestlers were like, "You mean I can get paid for punching this guy?"
Well, and we're talking the 1920s, which is, famously not an easy time to get paid.
Right, yeah.
Generally speaking. And yeah, to your point, like Gold Dust Trio takes what could have been a concept and industry crushing error, which is, no, people found out this was fake. They come back with like, yeah, it's fake and it's so awesome.
It
right?
rules, dudes.
Like, yeah, you know how fake it is? It's so fake that you fucking love it.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking do. Thank you for reframing that. But like, they were wrestlers themselves, so they knew how to treat their wrestlers, I suppose. So their lineage is a little surprising, at least it was to me. So that's the 1920s that we've got Ed, Billy, and Toots, and the Gold Dust Trio dissolves by 1928. Like, they were so successful, their rise was sort of meteoric, and I'm sure that a movie has been made about this. There must have been. But they sort of dissolved after like a power struggle, not even amongst the three of them, but between like relatives of one of them. And they all sort of parted ways and lived their lives. But Toots Mond stayed in the wrestling industry, and he like in the 80s partnered with Vince McMahon Sr. to form the WWF.
Oh, wow.
And then before he passed, he sold his shares of the WWF back to Vince, Papa Vince. And I was like, that's insane. Like, those are two completely different, quote unquote, golden eras of wrestling. And there's a direct line between, like, we don't even need to do 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's 1 degree. Like, that's crazy. Very cool.
It's wild. It's such a tiny thing. And this is the thing that's, okay, guess what, guys? Capitalism, one of the things that happens with all of these industries is that small groups of people grab a hold of it, and then they like each other or hate each other, but they end up creating very insulated industries and passing them down through their family lines and not really letting a lot of new people in, or they do, but at a terrible, terrible cost.
Right. Yeah, isn't that I know that they usually, when they make wrestling, I guess it's boxing instead.
They did recently have a wrestling movie with Zac Efron, right?
Yeah. That
Oh.
that was about
I know. I think it was sad.
the three brothers.
It's
Yeah,
gotta be,
they
right?
have
I
a
think it's gotta
tragic
be.
story, I think.
I did not see it, but I wanted to, and I was like, I'm gonna cry a lot, so I'm gonna hold off on that for a little bit.
The movie is called The Iron Claw, and it's about the
Mm.
Von Erich brothers. And yeah, the Von Erichs
Uh,
were a big part of the early like Vince Senior era,
mhm.
getting things started, and they all do have pretty like tragic ends, I think, because of traumas and steroids and things.
Ooh, when did steroids pop off amongst? None of us did that research. Cut this out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe it starts in the 70s, probably like 60s and 70s, because it would
Yeah,
align when steroids can happen in even like Olympic sports, right? They just become available,
probably.
and then
Yeah.
people are grabbing an advantage where they can get it, or in these cases where often wrestlers had to, they were getting paid by the Gold Dust Trio,
Mhm.
Mm,
but there comes a time where like people aren't getting paid very much and they have to figure out
Yeah.
ways to
yeah.
wrestle more and more and more per week to make enough money to live, and
And
that means
Razzlier
a
and
lot
Dazzlier.
of enhancement
Mm,
to not
Yeah.
only be bigger and faster and better, but also to just go through the recovery of whether you actually got beat up or you had to cut yourself or bruise yourself for the spirit of kayfabe. Like you're doing
yeah.
the whole
Mhm.
thing. Yeah.
Those, yeah. They've banned that, right? Cutting yourself.
I
I don't think that they
believe
do that
so.
anymore,
Yeah. I think
which
that
is
that's
good
banned, but
because
yeah.
especially because they would cut themselves on their face where you bleed so fucking much. Like, that's terrifying.
The movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke,
Mhm.
that movie very much covers that whole thing, right?
Oh,
Um, great movie. Have either of you seen it? Oh, it's really good. You should see it.
Heard only good things.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
same.
Meant to see it, but just like I meant to see Iron Claw.
Well, we just got to put together.
A
Okay,
wrestling movie night?
we do it. Yeah, we do an
Yeah.
episode, Chelsea's first wrestling movie night, and we
Okay,
just
great.
talk about 4 different wrestling movies that we all watch.
So fun. Or actually, probably very, very sad.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what? We'll throw
Probably
in
more
that
that than
Jack
anything
Black
else.
Lucha Libre movie.
Yeah, well, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre, yeah.
Nacho Libre. Yeah.
Mhm.
And speaking of the Lucha Libre, so I don't want to leave out that origin either. So Lucha Libre goes back to 1863.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
So there's Enrique Ugartequea, was the first Mexican wrestler, and he developed Lucha Libre from Greco-Roman wrestling.
Mm.
And then in 1942, Lucha Libre is changed forever when a silver masked wrestler named El Santo, the Saint,
Oh, I thought it was the Santa.
the Santa. I've got a gift for you. Pain.
Has there been a Santa wrestler? Now I'm like,
If there hasn't been, I mean,
There
it's
must
time.
have been.
there should be one, but does he only come around the holidays? Is it just like a
Oh yeah. A
maybe
very
there should be a
special
holiday
episode
themed
of-
one that changes for each upcoming holiday?
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
they
just
should-
figured out my character. If that doesn't
you just get to see the Easter Bunny fight in the Royal Rumble once in a while.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Santa was in Celebrity Deathmatch, right?
No, for sure.
I'm
Oh,
certain that
definitely.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those were good times. But yeah, El Santo debuts in Mexico City. He wins an 8-man battle royale, and
Great job.
and his career lasts nearly 5 decades.
Oh,
Jesus.
He is wrestling into the 80s.
nice. Oh, I thought I heard that into his 80s.
Well, I mean, if he did this in 1942, he's probably 20 something. So he's
In
in his 70s.
70s at least.
Yeah. He ends up becoming a folk hero and a symbol for justice for the
Aw.
common man, and he appears in
Aw.
comic books
Well
and
then.
movies.
Aw,
Hey.
Pretty cool.
there's gonna be a movie about him. You can go watch that. If there isn't, somebody needs to make it. Let's make it.
Okay.
We got
green
time.
light.
We'll start
Give us money.
producing. Yeah, go to debut. Just PayPal us. I don't know. Send
Yeah,
us
just PayPal us.
Just throw it at your window. Eventually, it'll get to us.
Yes. If the prevailing wind is
Put it in
our
your
direction.
mailbox. You don't have to put an address or anything. Just hope it gets to us.
Listen, if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
This is true. This is true.
Capitalism. Sorry.
So then all the stuff happens, right? Wrestling kind of lulls again for periods of time in the 50s and 60s. It picks back up. It booms massively in the 80s with all of the WWF stuff and just kind of keeps mutating and the cell keeps dividing. The entity keeps splitting into things. So there's WCW and NWA and all these other things that exist. And that brings us to now.
Okay. I don't want to talk about this asshole very much.
Oh.
But I read a quote from Vince
McMahon,
Yeah.
McMahon.
McMahon,
Jesus. And it's spelled in a way that makes you think it's pronounced differently. He was just being such a little shit about it. He was like, all of these cells split, and he's like, they're little weaklings. He called them little lords, and they're fiefdoms, and they're like scattered to the winds. And he was like, and they'd still be little lords if I hadn't come along. It's like, okay.
That's the other thing, though. Like, part of the showmanship of all of it is that kind of persona, right?
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting, and we don't have to go into this too long, but I think that there's this natural thing that happens, especially when capitalism and these industries are passed down through a family. You go from like overbearing, abusive businessman father who starts something up and is greedy and starves his wrestlers and makes a shitload of money. And then you watch that happen and you get control of it and you convince yourself you're playing a character. I'm doing a caricature of my dad doing this thing. But the problem is that eventually it overtakes your actual sense of self until eventually you're just that. You're just actually that. And, you know, or it's not even that like kind. And it's more like, no, these people were just always selfish and shitty and abusive to the people that worked for them. And because of the nature of wrestling, because of the idea that it is performance, people took overt behaviors as performance in the way that many people will, many sort of Trump supporters will do that with Trump, right? Be like, oh, you know, he's doing a bit to trigger people.
Right.
He's not actually stupid. He's doing it to blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Trump famously involved in a lot of WWE.
Yep.
So there it is.
Oh, God. Let's make our own promotion.
Great.
There was like recently they broke off like a handful of wrestlers that were really upset with there's a word I'm looking for, but I can't figure it out. They broke off and started their like a tiny independent wrestling thing I was really excited for, but it seems like that may have gotten reabsorbed back into.
Some of them went back to WWF, but yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah. I was gonna say this happened like last year or the year before.
Oh, I'm
very
thinking
recent.
Of one that happened like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking of one that just happened because I was like, oh, neat. They're finally breaking apart because like watching Total Divas and stuff, I would follow some of the female wrestlers after, and then some of them would like leave and it would be like really. I think one girl left got fired because she got a tattoo, and the tattoo was like, I don't know, tramp stamp of a butterfly, but because they had to sign off on it, they fired her because they didn't sign off on it or something. Like there was a big thing around that. And I'm sure that there are a handful of other things, but there are like times whenever people get injured that it doesn't get treated correctly. And then that became a problem. I know that they try to do better now, but still, even then, it's like, I don't know, people get injured left and right in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's countless tragic deaths in the ring and outside of it for various reasons, whether it's from steroids and heart disease, heart damage, or CTE or whatever. There's a pretty heavy cost to this.
Yeah.
Like wrestlers who don't live long live into their early to mid 40s and then they are broken in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
bummer.
It's a huge
Yeah.
bummer. And it's like it's fake, but you're still throwing yourself around and like running your head into the turnbuckle or whatever. So, plenty of damage being done as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It remains an athletic endeavor, an athletic
For
competition, right?
sure.
It's not fake. It's
Hmm.
it's pre-planned, right? It's worked, but it isn't
Yeah.
fake. Like, yeah, okay, you're gonna hit me, then I'm gonna hit you, then you're gonna hit me, then I'm gonna do this, then you're gonna do that, and all those things can still hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, for
And they
sure.
do. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, so Kelly, you had asked way earlier, do we still watch it? I do not still watch specifically that, but I do watch clip shows constantly. And that's why my research on this went to pot, is because I started a YouTube video, but then it was like list of top 10 injuries that shouldn't have happened. And I was like,
Oh
yeah, I'm
my
gonna watch
God.
that one instead. And then I just kept doing those again. And I was like, ah. And then every now and then one will pop up. This happened before we decided to do this episode. I will have ones pop up because I do watch them periodically. But just watching like there's like one where there were two people. One of them was the Undertaker,
R.I.P.
and what was it?
Oh, I just said R.I.P.
Oh yeah,
for the
and
Undertaker.
then like they dropped someone through the top of a like it was a cage match, and they dropped him through the cage, but it
Oh.
wasn't supposed to break, and it
Ah.
broke. And then
Ah.
like another one where they threw a guy and it was supposed to be sugar glass and he was supposed to go through the glass and they replaced it with plexiglass and no one updated that. So the guy fell on his neck. Like
Yeah.
there's
Jesus.
just like a handful of things that just go super awry in this and not even like, and that's like something that you see like with it being not real. Like they talk about this and like whenever someone gets injured, they'll bend down and they'll ask them like, are you okay, dude? And like you can
Yeah.
see that happen and it's like I don't know. There are times whenever you hear the appreciation between wrestlers that how like another one protected them or tried to help them
Mm-hmm.
whenever something went wrong. And that's beautiful. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know how
No, it
I got on
absolutely
this
is.
tangent. I was
It's
gonna say
very,
they get hurt, but like I don't know. And I don't know if part of it was watching Total Divas behind the scenes and seeing how much effort and work and artistry they put into creating those movements together. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a dance. And like
Yeah.
having that type of um I don't know, that presence and creating that for everyone and doing it in a stadium every week or so is pretty intense.
Sometimes more. Like, one of the comedians who was a wrestler, I think is still a wrestler, Colt Cabana.
Hmm.
Hear him on podcasts fairly often. I think cast. Um, he would talk about how exactly that protecting
Yeah.
people as you're fighting them. Like you throw the punch, but you make sure that it hits them in this specific way because it is choreography
Hmm.
and it's not just on the stage or backstage in rehearsals. A lot of these wrestlers are like touring together,
Hmm.
sometimes internationally for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. And so it's like we're backstage mending each other's boots for the performance. Like we're helping each other source costume materials. Like it's more than just the dance of it. Like
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Well,
a
they're
camp.
individual like contractors. They're like 1099 individual
Oh yeah.
businesses,
Yeah.
right? Like they make
Yeah.
their own costumes. They have to make sure they're
Yeah.
there and they've got their stuff and they have to plan things out.
It's very cool. A lot of respect.
It's super cool. And it's time for the MouthGarf report.
The MouthGarf Report. Open wide for some lasagna.
I hate Mondays.
Woo! Woo!
Oh. Was that your wrestling woo?
Yeah, that's how I enter the ring.
Like a ghost? Would you be
No, I'm
dressed
just
as a ghost?
woo girl.
Woo.
I've got like cowboy
Oh,
boots
perfect.
on and like a bachelorette sash and
Oh, beautiful.
got
Love
a
it.
cowboy hat, pink feathers, glitter. You know.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. It's the runaway bride.
but I say it more like a character in Clue. Well, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Duh.
I love it. I love it. I have bug news.
Yeah.
How's about
Hit me
some
with it.
bug news? So a bee got into the house today. And it's a happy little bee. It got trapped in the window. So we have like old windows, and then we have storm
Oh.
windows,
Mm-hmm.
and the bee
Yeah.
got trapped in there. So I spent about a half an hour this evening before we started recording trying to get that little guy out. Because hey,
Aw.
don't die in there.
Yeah.
Don't die in there.
He got stuck in like the little notch, the basically like the lever that you push to raise and lower the storm window.
Oh.
And I thought for sure, oh no, now he's a goner. He's pinned in there. This is never going to work. So I just kind of like moved things as much as I could and left it and hoped for the best.
Yeah.
And then he was gone.
Huh.
I didn't see him leave, but
Oh.
you'd
Raptured.
love to see him walk away. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got. Yeah. Other than because I had my whole sinus allergy thing last week.
Mhm.
Whenever that's at peak, the mouth guard becomes my nemesis because then it's like I
Oh,
can't really
yeah.
sleep,
Yeah.
and then I'm biting on it really hard. Like
Yeah.
so yeah, we had some tough moments last week, but hey, you know what? Everybody's still hanging in. We're doing great,
No, it's good.
Your jaw is gonna be so ripped,
right?
dude.
Oh,
You're gonna
I
have to
know.
make it a professional wrestler.
Yeah. Move over, Bruce Campbell from
Yeah.
the first Sam Raimi movie. There's a new jaw in town.
Chelsea, I know you've got garf
Yeah.
or mouth news.
Yeah, actually, on our break, I went and changed from tray 4 to tray 5, so I might sound a little more
Ooh.
lispier during this. Tuesdays
Are
are
you
my day to
feeling-
change, and I usually do it after dinner, but I did not do it today, and then I was like, oh, I should go put this in. But on not this past week, but the week before, I did lose one of the nubbins on my teeth and had to go get that replaced, and that was quick and painless for the most part. And yeah,
What did they say? Are those aren't supposed to come off? Does
they
it
told
happen
me they do
often?
come off pretty often. And I said, okay. Or they knew that I was going to eat popcorn, and they were like, I don't want her to feel bad whenever she bites down and wants to cry.
Oh my God. How scary was that? Did you think that part of your tooth came off?
It did actually feel and look like part of a tooth. No, I didn't think part of my tooth came off. But fun. While I was eating the popcorn, I thought I may have broken my tooth and or pulled off a nubbin, but then I counted them and I was like, nope, all here, fine. But I am going to save this to look at it after the movie because I can't look at it right now. So I put it in a napkin, and then nubbin fell off. And then I was like, this definitely feels more different than that one. Has absolutely no give. This is definitely a nubbin. And then I like felt around and I was like, yep, that's gone. That one's
That's a
gone.
nubbin.
And put that in the napkin. And I still have the nubbin and the piece of popcorn that was very hard as well. So I'm not going to
make
get to
a
eat.
shadow box with
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to eat popcorn for another couple months, which is a bummer because that's one of my favorite foods. So
So what? Okay, so the nubbin is a hard piece of material that
Yeah.
the Invisalign clips onto or hooks over, so it doesn't
It's
pop out.
Yeah.
they tell you it's to move your teeth.
Oh,
so
okay,
it's
right,
supposed to
right.
be the thing grasps onto it to like do whatever it needs to do. And I have an absurd amount, I think, for people with nubbins.
Yeah.
I think nubsurd is what you wanted to
Yeah,
say.
an absurd.
It's
Mhm.
nubsurd. How many
It
nubbins?
is an absurd. Yeah. Yep.
Oh man.
That's like my most horrible nightmare is is pieces of teeth falling off because years ago in 2007 I had like a bad stain on the interior of one of my teeth, and I was going to go on an international trip in like 3 days. So I decided foolishly to Google, like, what can I do to fix this short term? And then you can go back and fix it later.
Oh
Oh.
no.
The internet was like, just dab a little super glue on there.
Ah!
And so I did. And then what happened was a large piece of my tooth popped off. And so I went immediately to an emergency dentist, and they did the proper like capping thing. But
Oh no.
yeah, tooth
Huh.
parts falling off. No thanks.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh,
I don't like
no.
this nubbin plan. I mean, I understand it's working for you and it's
Yeah,
integral,
I'm not.
but
I don't like it either. Once again, if I had to do this all over again, I would say get braces. You can eat and drink whenever you like. I cannot currently do that. And
Mm.
my nubbins fall out when I eat popcorn. So not fun. Don't like it. I
would you
did have,
say you want nubbin to do with it?
yeah, I want nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I do have my brother did lose a part of his tooth eating popcorn, so I should have known. Like we are a popcorn family that loses teeth from popcorn, so it's good. It's good.
Have you thought about doing popcorn
Oh
eating
no.
Making
in
that
a
a pro wrestling.
in a wagering basis, yeah, and going double or
Mhm.
nubbin?
Yeah,
Bet I can
losing
lose
two
this
teeth
tooth.
or just like not losing any teeth.
Well, yeah, not losing. Yeah, it's just kind of a betting joke, not really about actual losing teeth. Nubbins. Okay.
We don't have the logistics. We don't have the logistics.
We had a guy come spray our yard, and he said at the end of it, "Hey, your bugs are going to get way worse before they get better." And I was like, "What? That seems the opposite of what we need you." And then now we're noticing that. We didn't notice it for a few days, but we have had an absurd number of spiders and stink bugs in our house, which we did not before. So I do not recommend getting your yard sprayed for bugs to keep bugs away, because you will just get more bugs.
You caused like
And
an extinction event in their habitat, so they all
so they
like
came inside.
like Honey, I Shrunk the
They're
Kids style, like
immigrating.
they're all just
They're
sprinting through the
refugees.
grass toward the house, like we gotta get out of here.
Yeah. Yep. So now they're all inside. So cozy for them. Cozy for
Snug
me.
as bugs in a rug, would you say?
And the spiders are big. They're like this big. They're like huge suckers. I think they're all wolf spiders, but
Isn't there
not loving it.
a new scary movie coming out about
Spiders?
spiders?
I think there might be two. Well,
Mm,
I don't know what they're
the
called.
one in your house and then the in
Outside.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
The independent film being made in your house by spiders,
Yeah.
for spiders, by spiders.
Gosh,
It'd
I
be
don't
an
have
existential
anything.
story, probably. But
Wait, did I already tell you guys I broke my water pick?
no, that's depressing. How did that
I
happen?
broke my water
Oh.
pick. I dropped it. She's clumsy. I'm still using it, but the
Oh,
reservoir
bummer.
does leak. So it's an even more
Messy.
high stress situation than it used to be. Yeah, very messy.
Listeners, if
That's
you
it.
want to
That's all
buy
I've
Kelly a
got.
new water pick,
Yeah, please do it.
hit us
Help
up.
me, I'm unemployed.
Send us money. Send us money so that we
Is
can
it
have better
me,
internet
or is it-
and other things.
Yeah.
We need to buy Nate an internet.
And then me secondary. And Kelly, you're doing great.
Well, for now, I'm about to move
We
back
need
to
to buy
Boulder.
you a new cord. I don't know. The thing that messed up that one time.
I still don't know what that was. I'm using all the same cables.
Oh, then I don't know. We just need stuff, guys. Give us money. Thank you.
Yeah, please. Come on, look. Capitalism? Come on. You've heard of it. Give us money.
Come on.
Yeah, we have to all deal with it. Oh, I'll talk about this at the end. I'll
Okay,
wait
great.
until after the MouthGarf.
Do we need to discuss the Star Wars prequels yet, or do we want to push that off?
No, not yet. We'll push it
Great.
off.
No, I love
Just a
this.
little
I
while.
love this that this is not going to be the thing where we actually will never discuss it ever.
One
For
day
the
it'll
entire
happen.
run of the show.
One day.
The
one
finale
day.
of the show, somewhere around
Yeah.
2064, we will discuss the Star Wars prequels.
But then
with
there
our
will be
dying
prequels
breaths.
to the prequels at that point.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
We'll,
So
we'll
which
have
one would we discuss?
we'll have watched the requels where they like used AI to bring all of the original actors back,
My
but they did a better
gosh.
job, and the movies are actually good. It's gonna be great.
Mom.
It's gonna be great. That was the MouthGarf report. Are you both interested? Let me. I look. We don't normally do this, so I just want to float this idea. Would you
Okay.
like to play a game?
Oh,
Well,
tell me more.
So I watched these movies about a little guy who rides a tricycle and he makes a lot of traps.
No.
And I was
Mm,
thinking, he
mm,
always
mm.
says, would you like to play a game? And it seems like everybody has a lot of fun when that happens. So, in the spirit of that, I thought we could see if you saw what I did there.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for playing, folks. That was
Well, we're done. 5 out of 5 on that one.
Yep, that's it. Show's over.
uh,
It's time to play I See What You Did There. This time,
woo.
it's all wrestling related, so get ready.
Yay.
Whew.
You're gonna have fun. We got names of wrestlers. We got names of things that you know about. It's easy. These are mashups that can be done. I promise.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
really know the names of things that we know. We don't really know a lot of things outside of things.
No.
You
Okay.
know more things than you think you things.
Okay.
You're softballing it today. Thank you. Okay, let's go.
True.
Yeah, appreciate it. Number one.
Okay. Number one, this is a Quentin Tarantino film about an aging actor and his stuntman buddy running afoul of the Manson family. And this is the wrestling persona of Terry Bollea, who won a 1988 Kids' Choice Award. And here's a hint. This answer could also be the title of that Terry Bollea's infamous sex tape.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I can't think of anybody with Hollywood. It sounds familiar. Hollywood hung? No, that doesn't sound.
You're so close. Yes, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Terry Bollea is a wrestler who acted in a bunch of movies in the 80s. And probably still the most famous wrestler that you could think of.
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
That's all I've got to.
So then it's Hollywood
trying
Hogan?
to-
Hollywood Hulk Hogan. That was one of
Oh,
Oh,
one of
that was
his-
his name?
his that was one of his nom de
Ugh.
guerres, was that he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan for a while.
Well, the more you know.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
Because his initial thing was he was like, I think he was a face, and he was the like fancy, like he was the Los Angeles wrestler. This guy's pretty and he's blonde and he's on the beach. He's always doing
Blonde
whatever.
and tan.
Yeah. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood Hulk Hogan,
Muscle
which could
dude.
also be the name of the sex tape.
I
See what I
see.
did? You see what I did there? You see what I did there?
Oh, yeah. Gross.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Number two. Number two.
Number two.
This pro wrestler stars in John Carpenter's They Live and is all out of bubblegum. And this actress portrayed Carrie's overbearing mother, Margaret, in the 1976 horror classic, Carrie.
Wait, say the second part again?
This actress portrayed
Oh, okay.
Carrie's overbearing mother, Margaret.
Who's the wrestler, Kelly?
It's Rowdy Piper.
It sure is.
So Piper Laurie?
Piper
That's
Laurie, put
somebody,
it
right?
together.
Wow,
Oh,
nice.
Rowdy Piper Laurie.
You see what I did there, Rowdy Piper Laurie. Well done.
Yay.
Hell yeah.
Yay.
You can't see me, but I'm clapping.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
doing so many things. Like I've never looked better, and you're missing it.
I'm fist pumping the air and flexing my huge muscles like a wrestler.
You know, this is actually very nostalgic because we're all old enough to remember talking on the telephone. Like not even like, yeah, smartphones you can still, but nobody does that anymore. But like the idea that you would sit in your room and just like talk on the phone to somebody. You had your
For
Garfield phone.
Hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, your guard phone.
I didn't see anybody's faces.
No.
Just gotta
I
hear them
often
voices.
forgot what people even looked like.
Right? Most people didn't even have faces. We all took them off. which
I've already
was the
forgotten
impetus for the
two of
movie.
you, to be honest.
Number three. As of WrestleMania 40, that's the one that just happened, this wrestling legacy is the current undisputed WWE Universal Champion. And this is what you call graduates of the International Postgraduate Award for students to study at the University of Oxford in Oxford, United Kingdom. Bill Clinton is one of these.
Whoa.
The latter half sounds like the name of the smallest U.S. state.
Road?
Yep. Road.
Oh,
Okay.
a Rhodes Scholar.
Yep. Rhodes Scholar.
Okay.
Okay.
So who has a last name of Road? Jim. Bob Road.
Let's see. I'm trying to think
Road.
of
El Santo Road.
Tootsie Road.
Toots.
Toots. That's it. Toots.
Toots.
Toots Road. Okay, give us another sounds like.
Yeah.
Is it a human name or is it a persona name?
It is a human name. It's a
Okay.
it's a fairly uncommon now human name, but I feel
Okay.
like it was very common in the 80s.
Okay.
Bob.
It's short for a type of large grizzly bear. Or it sounds like
What?
that.
Short for a type of large grizzly bear.
Yeah, a type of bear that sounds like a popular camera and film company that's no longer relevant.
Kodiak.
Great. What's a man's name that sounds like that?
Cody Rhodes Scholar.
Cody Rhodes Scholar. You see what I did there?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Okay, yeah. Whoa. Yeah,
We
did not
did
know
it.
that one.
We did it. We did it together.
Oh,
Amazing.
God, wow. Nate, you are so good at giving us clues.
Oh. Somebody's yelling right now at the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry to the
sorry.
listeners who are
No.
like, God damn it.
I mean, look, it was either I was hedging my bet on maybe that either of you had watched recent wrestling. And I thought maybe Chelsea might know
Oh.
somebody.
I did
or
watch
had
a
watched
clip
it.
show of it, but I only watched the wrestlers I knew, and Cody Rhodes is not one of them.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes is like the all-American face of the era, is the best I can tell.
Mm.
Because it was a huge deal when he won WrestleMania that he finally like came out on top. And then as I was doing research for this episode and these questions, apparently he's going to maybe fight The Rock. The Rock is coming back. They're going to fight, but the
Oh,
belt
okay.
might not be on the line for that match for some reason. But it's interesting to me how much like wrestling blogs have this inside, like, what are they planning? They've already planned this out, so this isn't even actually going to be a thing, and it's just it's wild because you know, it's just such an interesting, like, everybody's kind of shipping each other, and they're like, what's going to happen in this episode? It's very late season Game of Thrones energy.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Well, good for him. Congrats to Cody.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah.
Cody.
Number 4. This Australian WWE star performs on the Raw brand under this ring name and is the current women's world champion in her first reign. And this is an American franchise founded on bizarre events and gigaws that are so weird, people might question their veracity.
Okay, repeat the second part.
Yeah, this is an American franchise that focuses on bizarre events and gigaws that are so weird, people might question their veracity.
Okay. Is it fact or fiction? Fact or faked? What is it called?
It is
No, it's the other one.
It is the
Believe It or
earlier
Not?
one. Yeah. Chelsea.
Wait, what did you
Believe
say,
it or
Chelsea?
not.
Believe it or
Uh-huh.
not, yeah.
Who's Believe It or Not?
Ripley's?
Great. Now give me a wrestler who connects to that. Maybe. I mean, they definitely do. The wrestler's last name is Ripley. Her first name is something else.
All
It
the
is
ones
a
I'm
word.
thinking of. Okay, good. It's not just like a grunt or a noise. Okay.
But is it a name or
object?
is it same question as earlier?
Yeah,
Human
yeah.
name or
It is a human name. It is a human name, though it does rhyme with a cowboy exclamation.
Okay.
What would a cow?
Yeehaw Ripley.
Great. What's
What?
a woman's name that rhymes with yeehaw?
Sheila.
You're
I
on
worked
track.
with a
It's
woman
not.
named
It's not
Yeehaw.
Sheila. It starts with a letter that
Tina.
Leah?
Oh.
the first letter of the first name is the same as the first letter of the last name, Ripley. So it's an R name.
Rhea Ripley. That can't be right.
Yeah,
Rhea.
no, Rhea
It is
Ripley.
Rhea.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
Rhea Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Well, that was good.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it worked. It worked so good.
We're trying our
It's
hardest.
happening.
Yeah, good is not the
It's-
word I would use, but it's working.
It's coming together. It's coming together.
Yeah.
You saw what I did there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You really had to
number
hold our
five.
hand.
Number 5 is going to be way easier. This is going to be great. Don't worry. This is going to be awesome.
I'm so scared right now.
Okay.
Okay. This French wrestler and actor, famous for offering legumes to dread pirates, was driven to school by Irish playwright Samuel Beckett, with whom he bonded over cricket. And this is the last thing that Kelly would want to wrestle with if she were lost at sea.
Fucking
Octopus?
octopus.
You gotta think about the wrestler first.
Okay, French wrestler that would offer legumes. What was the other part? To
Offer legumes
Dread.
to dread pirates.
Oh, Andre the Giant octopus.
Oh, there he is.
I was going for
Aw.
Andre the Giant Squid, but giant octopus
Squid.
works.
Okay.
Yeah. Andre the
Yeah.
Giant Squid.
Andre the
There you go.
Giant cephalopod. They can all wrecked.
But it's fun. It's a fun piece of, anybody want a peanut? That classic line.
Oh yeah.
And historically, so Samuel Beckett lived in the same French town where Andre the Giant grew up.
That's wild.
And Samuel
Okay.
Beckett drove him to school because all of the people who lived in the area would carpool the kids to school like once a week.
Aw.
So Samuel
I
Beckett used to
love
drive
that.
young Andre the Giant to school.
I just assumed he could walk like 10
Goodness.
paces and he'd be at school.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. I mean, he was Andre the Average as a child. He wasn't quite giant yet.
Was he Andre the average adult size as a
Yeah, probably.
child? I feel like he was still big.
I think he was,
right?
oh no, he was always big. Like he suffered from gigantism, so he actually was like
Mhm.
everything was just all the time. But he wasn't, he wasn't 7'4"
Yeah.
or 7'8" or whatever his actual height was during his wrestling career. But yeah,
He was 13 pounds at birth.
that's quite a bit.
Mhm.
Quite a bit of baby.
That's too much baby, in my humble opinion.
Too much baby.
By the time he was 12, he was 6'3".
That's a big kid.
That's a big
That is
kid.
big.
That's
You-
big.
You know what? Fun fact. I'm
Mhm.
43. Well, I'm almost 43. I've never even been 6'3" once.
Oh, you still got time, Nate.
I'm
it's
working
not-
on it, but it's not moving very fast. Honestly, I think I might be trending in the other direction.
Yeah.
We gotta get you some calcium
That's
Or
right.
some lifts.
or some lifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I had calcium lifts?
They
that'd
might
be
be
good.
brittle.
Isn't that-
Yeah.
Would that be like hooves?
Yeah.
Ooh.
just
Yeah, we'll
hooves.
get you some
It's
hooves.
just literally, I just become cloven so that I can be taller.
We've worked our way back around to a wrestling persona.
Yes.
You're essentially Pan at this point.
Yeah. Do you hear what Pan is playing on his pipes?
Oh god.
Doodle-doodle-doodle-doo.
That was I see what you did there.
Yay.
We did it.
That was a rough one.
It was definitely rough.
A lot of sounding
Um,
stuff out. That was good.
I was pretty
Appreciate it,
stoned
though.
when I wrote it too, so I had a lot of
We
fun
should've-
putting it together.
Yeah. They were good. We're just not good. So
Yeah,
you had
yeah,
more
that's
faith in
really-
us than we did in ourselves. So we appreciate that of you.
You know what? I promise I will never have
Faith in
less
us
faith
than
in
you.
you.
Oh.
No, I'll never have less faith in you than you have in yourselves. That is the Nate Regolia promise.
Dang.
Well, it'd be hard.
Dang.
So.
I will always be disappointed. Yeah. No. That's not even remotely true. Let's talk Debs about this first pro wrestling match.
How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs?
I mean, I thought this was fascinating, and
Mhm.
I'm going to give it a 5 just because all of this. It's a 5 with an asterisk because on one hand, it is fascinating and really interesting how long the grift goes back. Like
Oh, yeah.
everything is a grift, and it's not new. It's the same. I was telling my wife about this the other day that like there's something about when you're a kid that you think that you're experiencing things happening uniquely.
Mm.
Oh.
Like I remember for a brief window of time in my like late elementary middle school period believing that the word fuck was like a new word, like this was a new swear that people were employing in the 1990s, right? Because
Yeah.
I had never heard it before, and therefore it
Mhm.
had to be in some way new.
Mhm.
Of course, it goes back to Chaucer and way back before that. People have been saying fuck in some capacity, right? So it's nothing. And it's the same thing with this. It's like, oh, yeah, you would think like, oh, hey, wrestling became big in the 80s. And so the grifting became an 80s thing. And it's so associated with that, right? It has a very like Reagan era, every man
Yeah.
for himself kind of energy.
Yeah.
But no, the grift is really old. The grift goes back to the 1800s. Like there's always a grift. We always want to watch people do things that we know they're not actually doing, and we always
Mhm.
want to get tricked, and we never lose our either naivete or addiction to being sort of ripped off, or chasing the thrill of that, I guess, because it's a kind of emotional gambling, I suppose. Like you're not
Yeah.
actually. I mean, I guess if you go into the ring and get the crap beaten out of you by a guy
Yeah.
after 3 audience plants all lost in a row, that's one thing. But the idea that you go to something knowing, and it's really like going to a movie or something anyway, but it's like you go to this thing knowing it's not actually real, but you go to experience the ride of it. And it's just
Yeah,
really
man.
interesting
Yeah.
that this has always been around.
It's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Stay
Yes.
cool. Enjoy your summer.
Don't ever change.
Yeah.
You're so sweet.
No, but to your point, in some ways, it's surprising that the grift didn't start earlier, which actually makes me wonder, like, when did it actually start? You know, like,
Yeah.
like there must have been. I mean, humans have been fighting other humans as long as there have been humans, right? Like the Roman Colosseum is the earliest example that I can think of, or like David and Goliath. I don't know. And so we've had the same brains this whole time as people. So like there must have been like Middle Ages wrestling and grifting, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It would make more sense that there was than there wasn't.
That's how I feel. But this was certainly the first like modern professional wrestling. And I got to give it a 5 as well. And you know what else? Nate, I'm giving your storytelling of it a 5.
Well,
That's
thank
2
you.
5s we're doling out today.
That's so many. That's 10. That's 10, you know.
That's 10.
So mine would also be a 5, I think, with an asterisk for the same reasons. Nate, your storytelling was great, and I am glad with the one that was picked for the first ever. Because I was like, oh, this one's first-ish and it has a date. And I didn't delve too much into it, but that was the best to hear about the first time it was not rigged, but the first time people knew. So that was really just really great to hear about. And My asterisk is it would be cool if they could unionize. I know it's not going to happen, but that would be cool.
I mean, maybe that's something we need to do. Maybe that's what the Debs need to do. We need to show up. We need to win a couple of matches, and then we need to unionize.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah,
I
let's
love
do
it.
it.
Who better to unionize wrestling than three people who have no business doing it at all?
Yeah.
Hey, I can sew. I can help them with their
Costumes?
little outfits.
I can write some great speeches. Look, we all have our skills, but our highest and best use is not flying at other people who are 4 times our size
Yeah.
and trying to convincingly sell that we've been punched in the face when in fact we probably have, because we don't know how to not get punched in the face because we're not
Yeah.
professionals.
True.
Yeah, I was
very
like,
true.
I don't need to sell that I have been punched in the face. I am going to be crying and
Yeah, no,
clutching my
Yeah.
cheek.
I'm literally rolling around with blood all over me because I am dying, I think I'm dying.
Yeah.
So
When they lean down to be like, "Are you
killed.
okay? Do you want to continue?" You're just like, "No, absolutely not. Please get up. Go away.
yeah, I'm good.
Only it
We
was
must
all
more
good.
stop this."
like through heaving sobs. No, I don't want to keep playing.
Don't make me do this ever again. Also, workers rise up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? That's a convincing argument. Everybody
Mhm.
loves a
Oh my
weak
God.
leader.
Yeah.
So yeah, fives with an asterisk all around. That's a great score.
Yeah.
Way to go, history of professional wrestling with all of your grifts and eye gouging.
God,
Ugh.
eye gouging.
Right? Oh man. And that's like eye gouging is always the worst special effect in any movie too. There was eye
This is our
gouging.
second eye gouge.
Yeah, there was eye
Yeah.
gouging in Evil Dead.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep. It's just
Next week we won't be talking about eye gouging, will we? I didn't
unless
look it up.
unless Chelsea, what a beautiful transition, because our next episode will be about the first U.S. patent, and we have a very special guest joining us for the show. And unless that first patent is for an eye gouger, which it might be, I don't know. I haven't looked it up
I'm
yet.
not sure.
No,
Could
nor
very
have
well
I.
be
Oh God.
America's first mechanical steam-powered eye gouger.
Or maybe it's those
Not
like
these gloves to go over the fingers as they gouge.
with like Freddy Krueger fingertips.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Or maybe it's like those Victorian glasses that like protective glasses that go all the way to your skin. So there's no
Oh.
they're like goggles, I
from
guess
the
is
eye
a better
gouging.
word. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, eye
Steampunk
gouging.
protective lenses.
Hmm,
Yeah.
yeah.
It could be any number of things, couldn't it?
We'll find out.
It might. I don't even want to conjecture because we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're just gonna find out. We're gonna fuck around first, and then we're gonna find out.
Mhm.
That's pretty much what the show always is.
Yeah.
If you liked this episode, listeners, go ahead and subscribe and rate and review us. Go to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, leave us a note in that review about your relationship with wrestling. Have you wrestled? Are you a union wrestler? Do you wish to be represented by a union? Would 3 scrawny podcast people be a good lead for your union? Do you need costuming done? Kelly is available.
Mhm.
We've got a future here.
It's true. We're gonna start. We're something of a I don't know, crypto dust trio. No, I don't want to. I don't want to
Mm.
hitch my star to the
Nah.
crypto thing, even though that's kind of the
No.
next precious
We'll
metal
workshop
air
it.
quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Look,
workshop
we don't
it.
have to decide anything right now. There's plenty of time to do business later. So yeah, rate and review the show. We would love you to do that. If you like the music, check out Michael J. O'Connor. His music can be found at michaeljoconnor.bandcamp.com. And if you like to read books sometimes, which is like a podcast in your head that your brain makes, go to readspaceboy.com and check out some of the books that we publish there.
And if you miss me and Chelsea in the off weeks, you can find us over at Never Show the Monster, where every other week we talk about horror movies, and we should be back by this point.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you should.
Hell yeah, we should.
Hell yeah. Well, you know what? I think that we wrestled with that topic, and so it's probably time to go, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoha, buddies.
Yeah.
Yoha.
Bye.